So, of all the ones we're going to talk about today, this one is the saddest to me because I find it really annoying and sad that there just seems to be incredibly little knowledge out there about the amazing services and resources that pro-life organizations have been offering to women for years. Like last time I looked, there are nearly 3,000 pregnancy resource centers around the US, and they outnumber abortion clinics currently about 4 to 1. So they're basically offering completely free medical services. Like they offer pregnancy tests, ultrasounds, STD and STI testing. They'll help connect you with an OBGYN. I've toured pregnancy centers that do far beyond that. Like that's just the norm for a pregnancy center. I was just touring a pregnancy center about 3 weeks ago that offers lactation consulting. They do like birth coaching, birthing classes in the center. Like they do far beyond that kind of thing. They do well women care. They do pap smears in there. Like they're doing the whole 9 yards of women's care in the center. And that is not every pregnancy center. I wish all could provide those kinds of services. And imagine if we could fund every pregnancy center to the point that they could really expand their services to do all of that. That would be incredible. But some of the bigger centers in major cities are able to provide all of that kind of care to their patients, which is incredible. Also, pregnancy centers will help people with their medical bills and help them apply for Medicaid. I recently learned that there is a federal law that says that all states have to provide pregnancy related services to pregnant women with like completely free through Medicaid for any woman who has an income that's up to 133% of the federal poverty line. And it also has to cover them 60 days postpartum. I have several friends that work at pregnancy centers, and when they have a woman who falls under that 133% of the poverty line, she comes in and like they see her in the center, they find out that she's in the situation, they immediately help her to apply for Medicaid so that everything is covered. I personally am of the belief that we should get that percentage higher. It should cover more than just 133% of the poverty line, but I'm glad we have that. And pregnancy centers know about it, and they're helping women to instantly kick into that if they can. Most pregnancy centers have two sides to them. So we have this whole medical side that I've already talked about, but we also have all of the supportive services that they're offering. So they're offering free parenting classes, life coaching, support groups, childcare, and material support. Now, when I hear pro-choice people talk about material support, they usually say really snarkily, oh, they just provide diapers and wipes. Okay, that is not true. I have toured so many pregnancy centers. Josh has toured so many pregnancy centers. There are whole rooms full of everything you can imagine. Yes, they give out diapers and wipes, but they're giving out like whole car seats and strollers and cribs. And I've seen whole beds and toys and clothing. And like they continue doing this for years after they've given birth. Another pregnancy center that I can think of, I know for a fact, has a client who gave birth 8 years ago. In other words, her child is now 8 and she continues coming to that pregnancy center for free services. And she's in some of their single mom support groups and she works with them and she's still going through classes. And like, you cannot tell me that they don't care about people after they're born because they've been working with this mom for literally 8 years. So there's another piece to this though too, which is that sometimes local pregnancy centers, because they're small and not all of them have amazing funding, and I want to fix that, but smaller pregnancy centers might not be able to meet all of the needs of their clients. And so that's why there's larger parent organizations for pregnancy centers that can kind of help to provide that. I'm on the board for one of those. The organization I'm on the board for is called Cradle of Hope. It's in Minnesota. And basically what we do is we provide some of those bigger needs that a local pregnancy center might have. And so let's say that there's a pregnancy center who has a client who's really struggling to pay her rent because of her pregnancy or because of the birth of her child. She's in a really difficult financial situation, and that pregnancy center doesn't quite have the funds to cover her rent for her right now. They'll apply to us and we will start paying that woman's rent. And so we work with people all across the country or all across the state of Minnesota in our case, who were working with a local pregnancy center who just has bigger needs financially than that pregnancy center can provide. So there are already incredible pieces of infrastructure set up to be reaching and helping women and families. And I think the public just quite honestly doesn't know about that 99% of the time. We need to make that more known. We need to make all of it bigger. We need to increase that infrastructure so we can be serving even more women. And we also do need to be making some wider governmental legislative changes so that not as many people are in need of these kinds of local services. Everyone's in a better place. And we'll talk later about some tangible legislative ideas for helping women and families. But the idea that pro life people today are not helping women and children is just completely off base. Like, I don't know where you get that from. And so, if you're pro life watching this, this is a place I encourage you, go check out your local pregnancy center, go tour them, go find out what their needs are, how you can volunteer, how you can support them. Because not only do they need that help, but now you having that connection with your local center will help you to talk more effectively to the pro-choice people in your community and help them to know that these resources exist and are thriving where you are.
Yeah. I want to highlight just one thing about what Emily just said before we move on to the next one, which is that there's this key thing going on that pro-lifers need to be really careful about. If you listen to ERI, moving forward, you're going to be hearing a lot from us on what Emily just said, which is just the need to support women even more than we are. And there's multiple ways we can do that. I think churches can be doing more. I've got specific thoughts about that. I think charities can be doing more if they can. And I think government support is a part of that too. Some people would say that you don't need any government. You can just do everything with charity. And I wish that were the case. I just think that it's going to have to be some combination of the above to fill the entire gap. And so we'll be talking more about that in specifics today. But there's an important thing going on here. We need to not only talk about the more things that we need to do, the areas where we need to get better, we still need to make sure that we are highlighting the fact that pro-life people have been spending hundreds of millions of dollars supporting thousands of pregnancy centers around the country. I've spoken for a bunch of them. Ours is in Alaska, speaking for, like, they're all over the place. They're so loving. Almost none of them are the inaccurate fake clinics that you hear pro-choice people talk about all the time. Yes, that happens. It shouldn't happen. Part of what makes CareNet and Heartbeat International and groups like that great is that they're trying to help make sure that doesn't happen. And every once in a while, you get kind of these little, like, maybe a church starts a pregnancy center on their own or something, and then there's not that quality control. But generally speaking, so much has been done. And so we want to highlight that for people. And then also say, and yes, of course, we want more to be done, and we think more should be done.